Hi, I'm Dr. Rob Ward. I want to welcome you to another version of our video series from theredoxdoc.com. This lecture is going to be talking about how our cells work at a genetic level and what's possible in expressing the full potential of our DNA. More information you can find in our new book that'll be released September 2017, Healthy Cells, Healthy Life. So there was a landmark study that was published in the New England Journal of Medicine in November of 2017. And in this article, the hypothesis was, can our lifestyle truly affect our genetic potential, and can we prove that? Can we actually prove scientifically this is possible beyond a shadow of a doubt and lay to rest all the the ideas that people have had to say, well, that's a great idea, but there's no proof. Well, there is proof. And here's what these scientists did. They took 51,000 subjects that had been part of several studies over a period of many years. And they had genetic information, lifestyle information, laboratory information, and what happened in their lives health-wise. They analyzed all this data, and they came up with a very fascinating study. So here's what they did. They identified 88 genes, parts of our DNA segments, that are associated with heart disease for a fact. So if this particular group number one, they had all 88 of these genes, 100%. So we'll call them the 100% group. Group two had a little less, three, a little less, four, a little less. All right. So they followed their lives for 10 years through the data. 10 years, that's a long time. And that's a lot of people, which adds statistical value to this study. At the end of 10 years, the people that had all 88 of these terrible heart disease genes wound up having a 90% chance of having a heart event, meaning they had a heart attack or they had a stent. Something went wrong with their heart. The group that had a little less of those genes had a smaller percentage, so forth and so on. All right. Now the question was, these scientists asked, what happened if they lived a different lifestyle? If we broke it down. Now, these were all Americans of various ages, just a whole variety of people, men and women, etc., all different races. And so they had lifestyle information on these people too. And so here's what they said. Let's create a new group. These are the people that have all the bad genes, but they did four things right. They didn't smoke. They ate a healthy diet. They exercised regularly, and they were not overweight. Four things, not hard to do, but not everybody does it. But if they did, how did that change the outcome? In the worst group with every bad gene, if they did those four things, what happened? They had a reduction by 46%. This is huge. If there was a medication that brought it down by 8%, we'd put Provo, Utah on the map. But there isn't. So the interesting thing was, every group had a 46% reduction. Regardless of the DNA, their lifestyle benefits brought it down by 46% in every category. How fair is that? So if we live a healthy life, we change the expression of these genes. Well, wait a minute. I thought these were the bad genes that you got from your grandpa. Well, it's true. You get them, but they don't always express themselves because 95% of our DNA in our bodies has variable expression. Only 5% of our DNA is fixed, like your eye color. It's not going to change. So this is really exciting. Never has this ever happened before that we have proof, statistical proof, that's hugely significant. And this has raised the eyebrows of every scientist around the globe. Wow, what's possible if we change our lifestyle? Well, what if we were to do more than just our lifestyle? What if we added a variety of good nutrients and vitamins and redox molecules and all kinds of things that we could do to help our bodies? Okay, well, all right, this is great, but how does it work? what happens? How does this actually work at a cellular level? What's the mechanism? And so we have learned how this all works. So the bottom part of my board is a little busy, but I'm going to walk you through it. It explains how does this actually work at a chromosome level, down to the little, every cell has the capacity to express its genetic material or not. So DNA is that double helix, okay? It contains our chromosomes. And in a segment, if I took a segment out, there is a gene segment on every chromosome. So if during the process of creating change for a cell, we do this by activating the production of certain proteins or not. We're going to make certain proteins that we know code the cell to do certain activities, or it doesn't. And all of this has a switch. It's turned on and off. And it turns on and off at the level of transcription. So the DNA inside a cell transcribes itself. It's like making a photocopy. A photocopy of itself. So it makes a photocopy, and it's called messenger RNA. That's the photocopy. That goes through a later process. So whether or not the photocopy process happens is influenced by our life. And it happens at the level of something called transcription factor. Now, you've heard me talk about transcription factor in other lectures. Here's where it's working. So transcription factors are either present or not in our cells. And that is influenced by the way our cells are living. Are they under stress? Are they getting the proper nutrients? Is there enough oxygen? Is there a toxin? Is there oxidative stress? That influences the presence of these transcription factors. In essence, they sort of speed up the photocopy machine and make it work better. Or if they're not there, there may not be any copies made at all. It just sit there. So, okay, we make a photocopy, RNA. The RNA is then bundled together, and it goes into the ribosome of the cell. And I've talked about the ribosome. It's one of the little parts of the cell where all this is happening, the next part. So together, a group of messenger RNA photocopies are called transcripts. And they kind of are hanging around doing their thing, getting ready to be translated in the ribosome into little amino acids that come together to make a protein. The protein makes it happen in our cells, in our life. So what's interesting is to understand that all these little transcripts together add up to what's called the transcriptome. And that's a word kind of like the microbiome in our gut is the sum total of all the different bacteria. And we want to have a wide variety and, a good presence of those. In the transcriptome, it's being influenced by the presence of transcription factor, but this is, in essence, the landscape of the genetic expression in your cell. And that landscape is what's driving this expression. So if the proper messenger RNAs together in this, all these transcripts are then translated in the ribosome into little amino acids that fold themselves into a protein. And we know that there are certain proteins that are coded, so to speak, to cause certain actions. So what if there's a protein that is produced in a cell that helps an antioxidant do its job? And that antioxidant is being produced because of the presence of that protein. And if it weren't being there, then that antioxidant might not be around to get rid of a chemical that causes cancer in our cells. And all of a sudden there's mutations and trouble and a cancer starts to grow. So this is how it happens. It's all about the expression of our genetic material. So we have a lot of potential in our bodies to be vibrant and healthy. We have to have the proper signals to speed up the copy machine to make the right transcripts so that the cell can produce the right proteins. And all of this happens without us even thinking about it. It's in our genetic material. This is why we heal. We don't have to think about it. We just have to stay out of our way to let our genetic expression be fully realized. So in a cell, for example, if there is stress in a cell from oxidative stress, then there's not going to be the right transcription factors. You're going to shut down the copy machine. The protein won't be produced, and the cell's not going to do its job. And that's really scary for our health. So when we talk about a proper redox potential, the proper redox potential allows for the proper expression of our genetic potential. And all of this kind of falls under the new term you'll hear about called epigenetics. So I hope this has been helpful for you to understand why it matters to supplement our body with balanced resources of redox molecules to maintain a proper redox potential, to not have stress in our cells. And it's also vital, of course, to have proper nutrients, proper rest, nutrition, etc., to help us really express our full potential. So until next time, take care, and we look forward to seeing you at the next video.